Let me ask you something. Are you working hard to stay active after 50? Eating well, lifting light weights, maybe walking daily, but still watching your muscle tone slowly fade away? You're not alone. Most people assume the solution is simple. Just eat more protein. But what if I told you that muscle loss after 50 often has less to do with protein intake and more to do with a silent mineral deficiency that's disrupting how your body actually uses that protein? You see, your body doesn't just need raw materials like amino acids to build muscle. It needs very specific tools to process those materials to turn what you eat into lean tissue, strength, and mobility. And one of the most overlooked tools is magnesium. Yes, not creatine, not collagen, not even more chicken breast. The real game share for rebuilding muscle after 50 might just be magnesium. Here's why this matters. After 50, your metabolism starts to shift. You lose muscle more easily. You recover more slowly, and your insulin sensitivity drops, meaning your body doesn't handle carbs or protein as efficiently as it used to. Magnesium plays a direct role in over 300 enzymatic processes, including protein synthesis, ATP production, insulin regulation, and muscle contraction. If you're low in magnesium, and studies show over 60% of adults are, your muscles simply can't rebuild no matter how much protein you eat. Even worse, magnesium deficiency is nearly invisible at first. You may just feel a little more tired, a little weaker, or notice that your sleep and blood sugar feel off, but internally your cells are struggling to maintain muscle balance, energy metabolism, and even mitochondrial health. What the research shows is this. Without enough magnesium, the very foundation of muscle regeneration falls apart, especially as you age. But here's the good news. This video is going to show you exactly how magnesium affects your muscle-building machinery, the key signs of deficiency. Protein alone won't rebuild muscle. And most importantly, how to use specific foods, timing strategies, and smart supplementation to restore your levels and reignite your body's ability to build muscle naturally. And if you're already using protein shakes or strength training and not seeing results, you'll understand why that's happening and what to do instead. So, if you're over 50, care about staying strong, mobile, and energetic, and want to age with power, not pain, you're in the right place. Let's break this down step by step. And here's what's really going on inside your body when you try to build muscle, especially after 50. You eat protein. That protein is broken down into amino acids. Those amino acids are then sent into your bloodstream and delivered to your muscle cells. But here's the part most people miss. Amino acids don't just automatically turn into muscle. That process, known as protein synthesis, requires a specific enzymatic reaction. And that reaction can only happen if magnesium is present. Think of it this way. Protein is like the building material, the bricks. But magnesium, that's the electrician that powers the construction site. Without it, nothing gets built. Magnesium activates an enzyme called mTOR, mammalian target of rapamycin, which acts as a central switch for muscle growth. mTOR tells your cells it's time to build. But when magnesium is low, mTOR doesn't respond properly. It's like trying to run a power tool without electricity. So yes, you can eat 100 grams of protein, take amino acid supplements, and do strength training. But if magnesium is deficient, your body can't convert that stimulus into actual muscle growth. Now, let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine trying to bake a cake. You got flour, eggs, sugar, everything you need, but your oven isn't plugged in. You can't bake the cake unless there's heat. Magnesium is the heat behind muscle building. And this becomes even more important after 50. As we age, the body becomes less efficient at absorbing and utilizing magnesium. At the same time, our anabolic resistance increases, meaning it takes more stimulation and better nutrition just to maintain the same amount of muscle. This is why so many people over 50 struggle with sarcopenia, the slow, steady loss of muscle mass despite eating well. The issue isn't just intake, it's magnesium's real role in muscle synthesis. Utilization. Now, here's something the research shows. A 2016 study published in the journal Nutrients found that higher magnesium intake was directly associated with greater muscle mass, grip strength, and functional performance in older adults. And the effect was even more significant in people who were already exercising or strength training. Translation: magnesium makes your workouts and your protein intake actually work better. Now, here's where this gets practical. If you've been exercising consistently, but not seeing muscle gains, if you're getting adequate protein but still feel weak or slow to recover, magnesium may be the bottleneck. So, what can you do? First, assess symptoms. Early signs of magnesium deficiency can include muscle cramps or spasms, restless legs at night, low energy or fatigue, sugar cravings, trouble sleeping, anxiety or irritability. These are not just nuisances, they're signals your body is depleted. Second, check your diet. The modern diet, especially if it's processed or low in greens, is extremely low in magnesium. Add to that the depletion of minerals in soil and you've got a recipe for chronic insufficiency. Third, start focusing on high magnesium. Whole foods like pumpkin seeds, spinach, and Swiss chard, almonds, avocados, dark chocolate, 85% plus. Aim for 400 to 500 mgs of magnesium daily from both food and supplements combined, especially if you're over 50 and active. But we'll go deeper into forms and timing later. For now, just remember this. Protein builds muscle, but magnesium activates that process. Without it, you're just stacking bricks with no one to lay the mortar. If this is helpful so far, go ahead and hit the like button. It helps more people discover science-based natural health content just like this. Now, we're going to talk about why magnesium deficiency is so common in people over 50 and why your blood test might say you're normal when you're actually running on empty. Let's go there next. If you're over 50 and dealing with muscle weakness, fatigue, or poor recovery, here's something you need to know. Your magnesium levels are probably lower than you think, even if your doctor says you're fine. Let me explain. As you age, your body's ability to absorb and retain magnesium drops significantly. At the same time, many lifestyle factors common. What is mTOR and why magnesium activates it? After 50, like increased medication use, higher stress, reduced stomach acid, and insulin resistance, all drain magnesium even faster. So, even if you're eating well, the odds are stacked against you. What the research shows is startling. A study published in the journal Magnesium Research found that older adults are at a much higher risk of subclinical magnesium deficiency, meaning their levels are too low for optimal function, but not low enough to be flagged on a standard blood test. Here's why that matters. Blood tests only measure about 1% of the magnesium in your body, the amount floating in your serum. But magnesium is primarily stored inside your cells in muscle, bone, and tissue, not your blood. So your test might come back normal while your muscle cells are literally starving for magnesium. Let me give you a simple analogy. Imagine checking your phone's battery level and it says 100%. But what it's really measuring is just the screen brightness, not the actual battery. That's how misleading standard magnesium tests can be. The real status is happening inside your cells. Now, here's where it gets even more concerning. Several medications commonly used after 50 actually strip your body of magnesium. Diuretics for blood pressure or fluid retention, PPIs, acid blockers like omeprazole or pantoprazole, metformin for type 2 diabetes, statins for cholesterol. These drugs interfere with magnesium absorption or increase urinary excretion, quietly draining your stores over time. If you're on any of these, the need for magnesium support goes up dramatically. Add to that stress, which triggers the adrenal glands to burn through magnesium like fuel, and you have a perfect storm for deficiency. Let's not forget about digestive health. As stomach acid declines with age, a condition called hypochlorhea, your ability to absorb minerals, including magnesium, also weakens. So even if you're eating magnesium-rich foods, your gut might not be absorbing them properly. And here's the ironic part. The symptoms of magnesium deficiency, fatigue, cramps, weakness, anxiety, poor sleep are often treated with more medications which only worsen the deficiency. So what's the solution? Step 1, assume depletion. Unless proven otherwise. If you're over 50 and experiencing signs of metabolic slowdown, you'll likely benefit from magnesium whether your lab report says so or not. Step 2, start tracking your symptoms. Magnesium deficiency often shows up in ways that feel vague but persistent. Warning stiffness or slow recovery after workouts. Difficulty sleeping through the night. Muscle twitches or spasms, especially in the calves, craving chocolate, salt, or carbs, rain fog, low mood, or anxiety. Step 3, increase magnesium through both food and targeted supplementation, which we'll cover in detail in an upcoming section. But here's a key takeaway for now. If you're over 50, magnesium is no longer optional. It's foundational. Your cells need it too. ATP, your muscle's energy fuel, needs magnesium. Perform basic tasks like muscle contraction, energy production, blood sugar regulation, and detoxification. So, even if you're eating clean and exercising, without magnesium, your body is fighting an uphill battle to stay strong and metabolically resilient. Now, in the next section, we're going to connect a powerful piece of the puzzle. How magnesium directly impacts insulin. And why this connection may be the missing link between muscle loss and metabolic dysfunction. Stick with me. This is where things start to click. Now, here's where the dots start to connect. Most people associate insulin with diabetes or weight gain. But what they don't realize is that insulin is also an anabolic hormone, meaning it helps your body build tissue, including muscle and magnesium. It's one of the key minerals that controls how well insulin works. Let's break this down. When you eat a meal, especially one with protein or carbohydrates, your pancreas releases insulin. That insulin's job is to escort nutrients like glucose and amino acids into your cells where they're used for energy and repair. But here's the catch. If your body is low in magnesium, insulin can't do its job efficiently. Magnesium is required for the activation of the insulin receptor on your cells. Without it, your cells become less responsive, a state called insulin resistance. This is where glucose starts backing up in your blood, fat storage increases, and muscle protein synthesis slows down. Let me explain this with a visual analogy. Imagine insulin as a key that unlocks the door to your muscle cells. Magnesium is the oil in the lock. Without enough oil, the key doesn't turn smoothly. Eventually, it stops working altogether. That's what insulin resistance feels like on the cellular level. And it affects not just blood sugar, but also muscle growth. What the research shows is this. Magnesium deficiency is strongly linked to higher fasting insulin levels, reduced insulin sensitivity, and increased risk of sarcopenia, age, muscle loss. A study in diabetes and metabolism found that individuals with higher magnesium intake had significantly better insulin sensitivity, especially in older adults. And here's where it gets practical. If you're over 50 and dealing with stubborn belly fat, fatigue after meals, or slow recovery from exercise, there's a good chance your insulin signaling is impaired. And magnesium deficiency is a core reason why. Remember, insulin is supposed to deliver nutrients to your muscles. But when insulin doesn't work properly, amino acids stay in your bloodstream or get rerouted to fat storage. That means you lose muscle and gain fat, even if you're eating well. This is especially dangerous after 50 when both insulin sensitivity and anabolic hormone levels like testosterone and growth hormones start to decline naturally. So, what can you do? First, focus on reducing insulin resistance by restoring magnesium. Magnesium improves how your cells respond to insulin and can help lower fasting glucose and insulin levels over time. Second, support your insulin with smart timing. Eat protein-rich meals. How magnesium controls insulin sensitivity. Earlier in the day when insulin sensitivity is highest. Avoid high-carb, high-sugar meals late at night. Pair your carbs with magnesium-rich foods, like leafy greens, avocado, or seeds. Third, prioritize nutrient synergy. Magnesium works best when combined with vitamin D3, which enhances insulin sensitivity. Vitamin B6, which helps transport magnesium into cells. Chromium, another insulin-sensitizing mineral. You can either get these from Whole Foods or a well-designed magnesium supplement that includes these coactors. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this daily to help you take back control of your health naturally. Let's recap this point with one simple takeaway. Magnesium improves insulin sensitivity and insulin controls whether you build muscle or store fat. Without magnesium, your muscle-building hormones simply don't function. Now, we'll look at the energy connection. Why magnesium is essential for making ADP, your body's cellular fuel, and how that affects recovery, fatigue, and your ability to bounce back after exercise. Let's talk about energy. Not just how you feel, but what's happening at the cellular level. Every single muscle contraction, every repair after a workout, every signal your brain sends to move your body, it all depends on one thing, ADP. ADP stands for adenosine triphosphate. It's your body's basic unit of energy. Think of it like cellular currency, the fuel that powers everything inside your cells. But here's the critical part that almost no one talks about. ADP can't be activated without magnesium. In fact, in your body, ADP doesn't exist in a usable form until it's bound to magnesium. The real molecule doing the work is MGAT. So, if your magnesium levels are low, your body has less usable energy. Even if you're eating enough calories and nutrients, let me give you an analogy to make this crystal clear. Imagine you've got a fully charged phone battery, but if you don't have a SIM card installed, it can't connect to the network. Magnesium is like that SIM card. It allows your cellular energy, ATP, to connect and function. And when it comes to muscle recovery, this matters more than most people realize. After exercise, even mild walking, resistance bands, or yard work, your muscles go through a phase of repair. Damaged fibers are broken down and rebuilt stronger. This process is called muscle protein remodeling, and it's extremely energy intensive. If ATP is low, the repair is slow. If magnesium is low, ATP is inactive, which means your recovery suffers. You feel more sore, more tired, and less motivated to stay active. Over time, this leads to muscle wasting and functional decline. Now, here's what the science says. A study in American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that magnesium supplementation improved physical performance, grip strength, and muscle oxygenation in older adults. It didn't just help on paper, it helped people feel more energetic and recover faster. So, if you're over 50 and your energy feels like it's just not what it used to be, this may not be about age. Why magnesium deficiency is hidden in most labs. It may be about ADP and magnesium. Here are some real-world signs that your magnesium ADP system is struggling. I feel wiped out after light activity. Muscle soreness lingers longer than usual. You get winded easily. Sleep doesn't feel restorative. Caffeine seems to help temporarily, but then you crash. All of these are hints that your cells are running on empty, not because of age, but because of a magnesium ADP disconnect. So, what can you do? Start with magnesium-rich foods that support cellular energy. Pumpkin seeds 168 g per ounce. Spinach steamed 150 milligrams per cup. Avocados around 60 megas each. Cashews 82 mgs per ounce. The black beans, 120 mgs per cup. Next, layer in lifestyle habits that preserve magnesium and support ADP production. Prioritize sleep. ADP is replenished during deep sleep cycles. Limit alcohol. It increases urinary magnesium loss. Reduce high-sugar meals which drain magnesium to process glucose. Engage in low-impact exercise, walking, stretching, or light strength training increases mitochondrial efficiency and ADP output. And finally, consider supplementation, which we'll break down in detail soon, because even the best diets often fall short of optimal magnesium levels after 50. Here's your key takeaway from this section. Without magnesium, your body can't activate energy. And without energy, muscle cannot grow or recover. It's not about pushing harder. It's about fueling smarter. Now, we'll cover something extremely practical. The best forms of magnesium for muscle rebuilding and which ones to avoid. This can make or break your results. So, stay tuned. So, by now you understand just how vital magnesium is for muscle growth, energy, and insulin function, especially after 50. But here's the mistake I see far too often. People start taking a cheap magnesium supplement from the drugstore and see zero difference. Why? Because not all forms of magnesium are created equal. Some barely absorb. Others cause digestive upset. And a few are exactly what your muscles need to heal, grow, and thrive. Let me break it down. Magnesium comes in many different forms, each bound to a different carrier molecule. That carrier changes how well it gets absorbed, what part of the body it targets, and what kind of benefits you experience. Here are the top 3 forms that actually work for muscle rebuilding, insulin sensitivity, and recovery. Magnesium glycinate. This is one of the most bioavailable and well-tolerated forms. It's magnesium bound to glycine, an amino acid that also promotes relaxation and sleep. Great for muscle relaxation, sleep quality. Best magnesium forms for absorption and recovery. Anxiety, and cellular repair. Highly absorbed and gentle on the gut. No laxative effect. Bonus, glycine itself supports collagen and connective tissue health. Magnesium malate. This form contains malic acid, which plays a direct role in the Kb cycle, your body's process for generating ADP. Great for energy production, muscle recovery, chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia. Ideal if you feel sore or sluggish after mild activity. Often used in daytime formulas to support physical energy. Magnesium threonate. This newer form crosses the blood-brain barrier, making it ideal for brain and nerve function. It also supports neuromuscular signaling, the communication between your brain and muscles. Great for coordination, cognitive performance, and age memory decline. Also shows promise in improving muscle control in older adults. Now, which form should you avoid? Magnesium oxide very poorly absorbed, only about 4% and mostly acts as a laxative, often used in cheap supplements and multivitamins. Magnesium sulfate, common in Epsom salts, useful for baths, but not efficient when taken orally. Magnesium carbonate common in antacids. Poor absorption, limited benefit for muscles. If you're serious about rebuilding muscle, bioavailability matters. You want magnesium that's absorbed into your cells, not flushed out by your digestive system. Here's a simple protocol. Morning or midday, take 200 to 300 milligrams of magnesium malate to support physical energy and recovery. Evening or bedtime, take 200 to 400 mgs of magnesium glycinate to promote deep sleep, muscle repair, and calm the nervous system. Optional for brain muscle support. Add 100 to 150 milligrams of magnesium 3N88, especially if you're dealing with brain fog, coordination issues, or early signs of cognitive decline. Now, quick note on synergy. Magnesium works better with coactors, nutrients that enhance its absorption and function. Vitamin B6 helps transport magnesium into cells. Vitamin D3 supports insulin sensitivity and muscle function. Zinc, essential for testosterone and tissue repair. Taurine improves magnesium retention in cells. Some advanced magnesium blends include these, but if not, you can get them through diet or a quality multi. Also, always take magnesium with food, especially if you're using higher doses. This improves absorption and minimizes digestive side effects. And for those wondering, yes, topical magnesium like sprays or Epsom salt baths can be supportive, especially for local muscle soreness. But for systemic muscle rebuilding, oral magnesium is essential. Let me say this clearly. If you're over 50, not getting enough magnesium in the right form, you're leaving muscle on the table. No matter how hard you train or how clean you eat, if this insight is helping you rethink your supplement strategy, hit that like button. It helps the algorithms share this with more people who need it. So, now that you understand why magnesium is critical for muscle building after 50 and which forms actually work, let's put it all into a simple daily plan you can follow. Because here's the truth. Timing and consistency matter just as much as dosage. Magnesium doesn't work like caffeine. You don't feel an instant boost. It works silently in the background, restoring your insulin sensitivity, rebuilding muscle tissue, and optimizing your energy systems over time. So, let's build your day strategically. Warning, activate metabolism and muscle energy. Start your day by priming your metabolism and supporting ADP production. Take 200 to 300 milligrams of magnesium malate. Best taken with your first meal. Supports energy, blood sugar regulation, and muscle function. Bonus, combine with B-complex. Daily food and supplement protocol for muscle. Or vitamin B6 for cellular uptake. Include magnesium-rich foods at breakfast. Examples, avocado toast on sprouted grain bread. Smoothie with spinach, pumpkin seeds, and unsweetened almond milk. Hard-boiled eggs with sautéed Swiss chard. Hydrate early. Magnesium works better when you're hydrated, especially if you're physically active or drink coffee, which can deplete minerals. Midday, support insulin sensitivity and muscle repair. This is when your insulin sensitivity tends to dip, especially after lunch, making it harder for amino acids to get into muscle cells. Eat a protein-rich meal with magnesium-friendly sides. Example, lunch, grilled salmon with quinoa and a side of sautéed greens. Add lemon or apple cider vinegar to meals to aid absorption. Stay active after lunch. Even a 10-minute walk post-meal can dramatically improve magnesium uptake and insulin function by driving nutrients into your muscles. Evening trigger recovery and rebuild while you sleep. This is when your body does its best anabolic work, repairing muscle tissue, recharging mitochondria, and restoring hormonal balance. Take 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate. Best taken 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Promotes muscle relaxation, deep sleep, and cellular repair. If you have trouble sleeping, consider pairing with glycine or L-theanine, magnesium-rich dinner. Foods, baked halibut or grass-fed beef with roasted sweet potatoes, and steamed spinach. Sprinkle pumpkin seeds or hemp hearts on salads or soups. Limit alcohol and processed carbs at night. Both can deplete magnesium and impair sleep. which is when muscle growth actually happens. Supplement stacking tips. If you're taking vitamin D, always pair with magnesium. Vitamin D increases calcium absorption, which requires more magnesium to balance. If you're fasting or doing keto, your magnesium needs may be higher due to electrolyte shifts. Consider a powdered magnesium mix with potassium and sodium. If you're stressed, cortisol burns through magnesium. Stress management, deep breathing, sauna, light stretching helps. Conserve your stores. Weekly boost. Once or twice a week, take an Epsom salt bath, 2 cups in warm water, 20 minutes. This allows for transdermal sleep, stress, and lifestyle timing tips. Absorption and soothe sore muscles. Follow it with oral magnesium glycinate. For a double effect. Total daily magnesium target 400 to 600 milligrams per day from food and supplements combined. Most people only get 250 milligrams from food. So, supplementation bridges the gap, especially for anyone over 50 with higher needs. Here's the bottom line. Magnesium isn't just a relaxation mineral. It's a rebuilding mineral. It drives protein synthesis, fuels ATP production, improves insulin sensitivity, and supports recovery. All key levers in restoring muscle after 50. You don't need complicated supplements or extreme routines. You just need the right form, the right timing, and consistency. Let's bring this all together. If you're over 50, trying to stay strong, energetic, and independent, but noticing your muscle tone fading. Despite good nutrition or exercise, it's time to stop looking at protein as the only solution. Because what we've uncovered today is this. Protein is important, but without magnesium, it can't do its job. Magnesium activates the enzymes that allow amino acids to become actual muscle. It helps insulin deliver nutrients into your cells and it energizes every repair process through ATP, your cellular fuel. Muscle loss after 50 isn't just about age. It's about depletion. Depletion caused by chronic stress, medication, poor soil quality, and modern diets low in magnesium. And most importantly, it's often invisible on blood tests. Restoring magnesium isn't complicated, but it does require precision. The form you take, the time you take it, and what you pair it with can determine whether your body starts rebuilding or stays stuck in slow decline. We covered the most bioavailable forms. Glycinate 4. Repair and sleep, malate for energy and recovery, 3 and 8 for brain-muscle connection. We mapped out a simple daily protocol based on how your body works best. Morning energy support, midday metabolic balance, and nighttime repair. And we showed you how to amplify the results by pairing magnesium with sleep, clean nutrition, and movement. But now comes the most important part, implement. Try just one change today. Add magnesium-rich foods to your next meal. Swap your supplement for a higher quality form. Take magnesium glycinate tonight and notice your sleep and recovery. Or simply go for a walk after dinner to help nutrients get into your summary and final recommendations. Muscle cells. Track how your body responds not just in strength, but in energy, sleep, blood sugar, even mood. Magnesium doesn't just support your muscles. It restores your entire metabolic rhythm. Because when your body has the minerals it needs, healing doesn't have to be hard. It becomes automatic, natural, inevitable. So, here's your challenge. Start today. Rebuild from the inside out and give your body the raw materials it needs to regenerate. Not just survive, but thrive well into your 60s, 7s, and beyond. If this added value, give it a like and share it with someone who's trying to stay strong naturally. And if you want more practical science-backed tools to optimize your health, subscribe. I post daily to help you master your metabolism without medication. You're not aging. You're upgrading. Stay strong, stay smart, and I'll see you in the next